Say, man, you see my crab cakes? Till I'm all alone. If you see my crab cakes, tell her things went wrong. Don't call on the phone and bring a black draw home. A little tartar too. Come on, little girl, tell me what you want to do. Them Maryland crab cakes are the best in town. Them Maryland crab cakes are the best in town. So come on, baby, let's get Louisiana down. If you see my crab cake, have you seen my crab cake? If you see my crab cake, tell I'm all alone. Tell her I still love her, and when she come back home.
It's now time for Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It began as a podcast, went live on the net, and transformed into a full-blown empire. Across the web, on Fight Now TV, and on radio stations around the world. It's the only daily boxing talk radio show on the planet, hosted by the only guy with the balls to do it. Many have stepped into the ring. Many have tried to take the belt, and one by one, they've fallen. Another victim of the undisputed heavyweight champion of boxing talk radio. Talkin' Boxing with Billy C is on now.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart.
And we're coming to you live from the Billy C studio in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calogero, and it's time for Talking Boxing with Billy C. Good morning, good day, good evening. Whenever you listen, hope you're doing all right. Don't forget the show's being brought to you in part by Cat's Nationwide Luxury Transportation Service, If you're looking for a limousine and you're located someplace in the U.S., then you need to give my girl Kat a call, 202-351-7496. That's 202-351-7496. Kat's nationwide luxury transportation service is the official limo service of this year's BillyCBoxing Hall of Fame induction weekend, which is scheduled November 16th, 17th, and 18th. So make sure you make your plans now or forever hold your peace. Kat's nationwide luxury transportation service. Hey, man, if you're looking for a reliable limo service and a really hot driver, well, then you got to call Kat. That's it's just remember, though, she's my girl. 202-351-7496. Tell her Billy C sent you, and just back off. 202-351-7496. Kat's nationwide luxury transportation service. The show's also being brought to you in part by Campanaro and Tomkovich. If you're looking for a lawyer, use the ones that keep my ass out of trouble. That's Campanaro and Tomkovich, whether it's some contractual law, whether you need a will drawn up, maybe you're buying a house, maybe you're selling a house. You know, maybe you have little matrimonial issues. Maybe you want to get custody of a little brat. Yeah. Maybe you want that. You know, maybe maybe you even got yourself in a criminal jam. Nonetheless, Campanaro and Tomkovich can knock out your legal problem. Give them a call, 845-221-4099. That's 845-221-4099. Campanaro and Tomkovich. Give them a call. And speaking of swinging by the office, tell them not only do you want to swing by the office and check out all the hotties in that office, but tell them Billy C will pick up the consultation fee. That's right, they love it when the people go in there and tell them that. 845-221-4099. Make an appointment today. 845-221-4099. Just make sure you tell them Billy C sent you. And of course, my friends over at the Halftime Bar and Grill, Route 9, South Glens Falls. If you're in the Lake George, Glens Falls, Queensbury areas and you haven't been at the Halftime Bar and Grill, I don't know what the hell you're waiting for. The outdoor section of the facility is open. All kinds of stuff going on there, including an outdoor tiki bar. They got tables and tents and a full beach ball volleyball set, or I should say beach volleyball setup. They have leagues there. The girls come and play. Yeah, that's right. The girls. See what I'm talking about? Hey, you see what I'm talking about? And you got to swing by there. The food is great. Do yourself a favor. If you like hot wings or boneless wings, make sure you tell them that you want to try the Billy C hot sauce. Make sure request Craig makes it because he knows how to do it. Give him a call ahead if you want, 518-792-4869. That's 792-4869. And don't forget, on Friday nights, when they have Friday night fights, we show up there and give prizes away. All you got to do is sit and watch the fights with us. That's it. All you got to do is mention that you're watching the fights and you'll get a prize. So give them a call ahead if you want, 518-792-4869. Halftime Bar and Grill. We have a busy show scheduled now. It's scheduled to come on. Did he beep? Scheduled to come on is Daxx Khan. I talked to him yesterday. He's been under the weather a little bit for the last few days, or last week about. Actually, it's been a week already. So he's scheduled to join us a little bit, so we'll wait to see if he can make it. Also, he's going to be doing the his weekend roundup. We got some good fights scheduled for this week, that's for sure. We got a really good one coming at us from England. And speaking of England, you know, I just got threatened again by our guy, you know, one of our English correspondents from England. You know, he's been on the show before. My man Thomas Newman. That's right, Thomas Newman. He's back. He's back in the saddle, and he's going to be getting back with the show. He's got time. He's going to be doing it. He's going to be covering some stuff. He's going to be writing some pieces for the website, which we're looking forward to. His first assignment, a good one. David Hay versus Derek Chisora. He'll be ringside, so we'll have a presence there. So I'm excited about that. Keep your eyes open for Thomas Newman's stuff. I'll be promoting it, so don't worry. Got a couple of emails from the same guy. A little light on the mailbag today. It's a light mailbag, which is good. I'm just glad that there's no who talk. You know, I didn't want to mention the name, but anyway, I can't wait. Is he going to be checking into jail soon? You know, prison. You know, when you hear these people say, Oh, yeah, he's going to prison. No, he is not. He's going to a country club. Anyway, Big Aback says, why thumbs up to Donaire? He's 30 years old, and he's still in mismatches. Just fight a Cuban Olympian, please. Khan is 25 and Canelo's 21, and they're out there to prove how good they are by taking the high-risk fights. And he says, by the way, he feels Khan is going to beat... he says Canelo will lose, by the way. Canelo's going to lose against... who's he fighting again? I forget. Canelo was fighting... I know Khan is fighting... they're not fighting each other. No. Khan is fighting... I can't believe I lost my my whole thing here. Was Khan fighting Canelo? No. Hold on. Now you got me wondering. Now you got me wondering what the hell's going on with that fight. Josito Lopez is fighting Victor Ortiz. We knew that. And Nonito Donaire is fighting Jeffrey Mathabula. We knew that. And Danny Garcia is fighting Amir Khan. So I don't know what you're talking about. He says, I guess he's saying if Canelo fought Amir Khan, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, he goes on to say when Whitaker... Well, you see, you got me all... You threw me out. You threw me a loop here. For some reason, I'm saying to myself, wait a minute. Canelo's not fighting... he's not fighting Amir Khan. But maybe that is a fight that comes down the pike a little bit. I think Canelo's a little too big, but we'll see. I know that he's... didn't Canelo just sign to fight somebody? I thought... man, it's all running amok for me because... yeah, it's a pay-per-view. God, now you guys got me wondering. And I have no one in the chat room right now to help me here. You know, so I know that it was a pay-per-view. That one was a pay-per-view, and not the Donaire fight, but the Amir, not the Amir Khan. Let's see. You know what? I'm gonna have to. Somebody's gonna have to help me out here. Who's Sal Alvarez supposed to fight? Don't make me go to our schedule. I'll wait till Dax comes on. Anyway, I better move along before I waste any more of the show. He says, when Whitaker fought Oscar De La Hoya, they were 30, and they had accomplished everything. They were past their prime. Donaire should fight Rigondeaux, Maharis, or Marino. He's a waste. Thumbs up to Golden Boy. You know, how could you say thumbs up to Golden Boy? Well, he's saying thumbs up to Golden Boy because Donaire is with Top Rank. But you know, Donaire, it's like Bob Arum and Top Rank are saving Donaire. You know, it's like they're saving him. You know, and I think Joe Santoliquito said it yesterday. You know, last time he was doing that, saving the fight, you know, he had the opportunity to have Yuriorkis Gamboa and Juanma Lopez fight, and he didn't, and then all of a sudden, we all know what happened to Juanma. He's lost his not once but twice, and that's the end of that. You know, that fight does not have the juice it used to. As far as Donaire is concerned, you know, I personally think everyone jumped the gun on Donaire a little too much. You know, he seems like, remember something, I met his father in Canada, and I had an extensive conversation with him 2 times. One was actually in an elevator. Believe it or not, we took a conversation, got pretty deep into it, and actually got out of the elevator and sat down and finished our conversation. And then at a weigh-in, at a fight, he was working the corner of someone else, and we were talking about his son. Now, this was in the middle of the big feud between Donaire and his pops. And what it boiled down to was kind of, you know, like he's not a stand-up guy, Nonito Donaire. Yeah, we all love him. The press loves him. The girls love him. You know, I mean, all this stuff. He has shown some abilities in the ring, of course. But his last couple of fights were, you know, marginal at best. And, you know, he claims that he wasn't into it. We also recall that he signed with Golden Boy before he was unsigned with Top Rank. They went to court, and Top Rank beat him, and that's why he's still with Top Rank. You know, so, I mean, You know, here's a guy that just doesn't seem to be a stand-up guy. Doesn't seem to honor contracts. Didn't even honor his own father. Now, I know it had to do with the wife and everything else, girlfriend, whatever she is. But the bottom line is, I agree with Bigger Buck. You know, put him in there with somebody good. I mean, I'm not saying that his next fight isn't a good one, but you know, Rigondeaux, yeah, I'd like to see him with Rigondeaux. I'd like to see him fight the best. I mean, they're saying he's a pound for pound fighter. You know, what always cracked me up, I used to be part of the Ring Ratings, and they used to have him as a pound for pound fighter ranked higher than he was in his own weight class. So hey, listen, in my opinion, to be a pound for pound fighter, you got to dominate your own weight class first. You know, I mean, that's the whole idea, I thought, but anyway, now you got me wondering who's Saul Alvarez, and I'm going to find out right now as I go to break. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
If you're in upstate New York and you need a trucking company, then you need Rosselli Enterprises. Rosselli Enterprises is trucking at its finest. They have it all. Dump trucks, dump trailers, walk-in floors, flatbeds, flow boys, tankers, loaders, and a full line of roll-off containers for any job, big or small. Rosselli Enterprises is also the source for all your sand, gravel, and topsoil needs. Visit them on the web at RosselliTrucking.com or call 315-433-5115. That's 315-433-5115. And tell them Billy C sent you.
Are you ready, America? Then let's get it on with Fight Now TV. It's time, fight fans. Your channel has arrived. All the fights, all the names, all the action. From world-class boxing events to mixed martial arts showdowns and other combat sports matchups, Fight Now TV delivers the hits and more. Call your television provider and tell them you want to get it on with Fight Now TV. For more details, go to fightnow.com.
We've got a great matchup tonight. Fighting out of the left corner is the #1 ranked contender.
No, he is not.
I'm sorry, but who are you?
I am the IBO computer. I am programmed to provide only fair and unbiased boxing rankings. This fighter is the number 15 ranked contender.
Fair and unbiased boxing rankings? That's a new concept.
Actually, it is not. The IBO has provided unbiased computerized rankings for many years.
Well, we've still got a great fight tonight, folks. In the left corner is the number 15 ranked contender.
The IBO, the champion of integrity. Learn more at IBOBoxing.com.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts. Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning.
As a young boy, all Billy C dreamed about was one day having his own catchphrase.
And we're back. And we're back.
One boy, one dream, one day, everyone will say.
And we're back. 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 And we're back.
Catchphrase coming soon to a theater near you.
Paul Williams, damn it. I know you were yelling in the screen. You were screaming in the radio, at the radio, I don't know. And we're back. Right, I forgot my catchphrase. And we're back. You're listening to the Talking Boxing with Billy C show. LDL TV, replaying it. Glad you could join us there, all of you viewers on LDL TV. Still waiting for my invitation for my two girlfriends down there. All John cares about is his own damn self. You know, I got Dawn and Michelle. Just dying to go move in with one of them. But John's not helping me out. It's Paul Williams. Saul Alvarez against Paul Williams. I know a lot of you were yelling at me just now. I could hear it. I could hear it over the airwaves. Yeah, I couldn't think of it, man. We had all those fights that were listed. You know, we got Victor Ortiz against Josito Lopez. I love that fight. The only thing I'm nervous about is the size factor. Because, you guys know I love Lopez, but Donaire against Jeffrey Mathabula. Amir Khan against Danny Garcia. And Saul Alvarez against Paul Williams. Now, BillyCBoxing says that Canelo will lose, by the way. That's what he says. And he's got another email. He says, despite what many of us think of Paul Williams, I should have read this. I should have read the second email, and it would have jogged my memory. He says, despite what many of us think about Paul Williams, he has the physical attributes that will give anybody hell, win or lose. He's a real test for Canelo. He was in a pound-for-pound category for a reason. Anyway, Donaire is like Donaire is like a sixth grader who keeps taking a fourth grade test and aces and expects everybody to acknowledge how good he is. Fight a damn Cuban already. Well, I can't deny what he's saying about, with Nonito Donaire. As far as Paul Williams goes, I don't want to take anything from Paul Williams, but, I never really bought into the, no one wants to fight me. He's the most avoided fighter BS because, just look at the promoter he's with. He's with a promoter that waits for these opportunities. And this is a perfect example of it. Paul Williams was regarded as a pound-for-pound fighter. There's no question about it. A lot of people felt he was, and gets put up on a pedestal. And why didn't anybody fight him? Because he didn't have a promoter willing to open up a checkbook. All these guys that build up their fighters and hope that they get to fight on one of the two. Because let's face it, there were three, but Don King is out of the picture. He's not doing anything. He's not coming through with anything. I was hoping, man, that, to be honest with you, I was hoping that Don would come back and have, a huge promotion, something huge, and then call it a day. I just wanted him to do one more. He's kind of just flickered out of existence here as the top, as one of the top three promoters. And what we're left with is Golden Boy and Top Rank. And all the other guys, the Goosens, the Gary Shaws, the Joe DeGuardias, the Lou DiBellas, and on and on and on, all those guys, that next level promoter, all they're doing is waiting to get one of their fighters to fight either a Golden Boy or Top Rank fighter. That's it. That's all they're waiting to do. And in the meantime, they're crying that their fight is the best. Lou DiBella's got Sergio Martinez. He says he's the best. He's avoiding, they're saying that Chavez Jr. is avoiding him. You got Paul Williams with Goosen. It's just terrible. You got several fighters with Gary Shaw. Same thing. Chad Dawson. We're going to be talking about him in a second. But Chad Dawson, he's deciding to move down in weight to go after Andre Ward. Now that's a little wrench, huh? You got Chad Dawson, who's promoted by the big fat walrus Gary Shaw, and Andre Ward, the unknown that's promoted by a lot of. He's promoted by Dan Goosen, who has a lot of unknown fighters, because Dan Goosen of Goosen Tudor Promotions, they too don't want to invest a penny. They think that they go on the internet and the whole word of everything gets out. And that's kind of funny. But here, I give them credit for putting that fight together, or at least planning to put that fight together. I guess they have to, because remember, Bute, he's with a decent promoter up in Canada who's willing to fork over some money. So that's why he's targeted as well. So anyway, getting back to the mailbag and the email from BillyCBoxing, he's right. Whether you like Paul Williams or not, whether you think Paul Williams is a top pound for pound fighter or not, whatever you think of Paul Williams, the one thing we all have to agree is that he's a tough out. Just because he's tall and lanky and everything else. Anyway, thanks for the emails. I want to get into something that really bothers me. Greg Serb is in the news today. Now, you may not know who he is. I've had some dealings with him in the past, years ago, but he's the commissioner. He's the executive director, I guess, for the Pennsylvania State Athletic Commission. And he's been in that job for a long time. And I remember when I was promoting, he didn't have such a great reputation. A lot of people thought he was, at that time, a lot of people thought he was nuts. But since then, he's been on his high horse about safety of fighters and everything else, and he's found himself a position with the ABC. Now, the ABC is the Association of Boxing Commissions. Tim Luckenbaugh is the president, and Greg Serb is the vice president. Now, Greg Serb went out into the press yesterday, and he was urging in an open letter, which he actually sent to the four major. Now, I don't know why he didn't include the fifth. I think we need to include all five. I think there's five major sanctioning bodies, the IBO, the IBF, the WBO, WBA, WBC, not in that order, but I think there's five. But he sent them to the top four, and his order was WBC, BO, BA, and IBF. And he wrote, he wants them all basically to stop sanctioning fights in Germany. He's basically wants to put a ban. He's calling a ban. He was calling for a ban on world title fights in Germany. Now, why? Well, because he feels that the German boxing people don't respect Fight Facts. Now, in case you don't know what Fight Facts is, Fight Facts is a national records and suspension list. Now, most of us, when you talk about fighters and you go and you look up their records, and if I said something like, hey, go punch up Paul Williams' record or something like that, most people will go to, where? BoxRec, right? But that's not the official. That's not the official records for professional boxing. Fight Facts is. Now, Fight Facts has been around a long time. And the reason why you may not know of it is because you got to pay for them. All right, so you go to BoxRec because you can get the records free, and for the most part, BoxRec is pretty accurate. And there's also, by the way, a suspension list which you can get as well through the ABC, but that's another story. But Fight Facts is a company that makes their living providing information, Fight Facts, which contain the official records of fighters and their medicals and their history of suspension. So if a fighter gets knocked out or he was cut and a commission puts him on the suspension list for X amount of time, he appears on that Fight Facts. And even when it's clear, they have a record of it. So a commission can look and say, oh yeah, Joe Schmo was knocked out 3 years ago. He was on suspension for 60 days. He came back. He had 2 fights, no problems, right? Or they could say, oh look, here's a guy who's been on suspension. He was knocked out. He came back. He was knocked out again. He's going, geez, he's got 3 knockouts in a row. He was on suspension all these times, and then they can make a decision. So, the thought process is good. However, it's still a business. It's still a business, and it's still a business that everyone agrees to use. They use this service. They have to. We don't have a choice here in the States. We don't have a choice. All right. So that's the way the commissions are. Now the ABC. It's a voluntary organization. In other words, if you're a commission here in the United States, you volunteer to belong to the ABC. Now, most of them do. And most of them adhere and abide by a general rule. And that general rule is if the state of Pennsylvania, Greg Serb State, decides to put me as a fighter on suspension, well, they're expecting, California or Arkansas or Georgia or any other state that when they are scheduling a fight, if my name appears and I'm under suspension, that I'm not allowed to fight. That's the way it is, right? Well, Germany traditionally has not honored Fight Facts. They don't want to pay for the Fight Facts. You can't blame them. They're not even in this country. We don't even have a government. The ABC isn't even really an appointed governing body. I think it should be. I think we should have an appointed body that we do have to adhere to and we do have to listen to. But technically, if a state doesn't want to listen to them, they don't have to. They don't have to. The other states may all gang up on them, but they don't have to listen. It's not a law, right? Well, he writes this letter. Telling everyone that they should ban title fights in Germany, and he says it's because mainly the Oliver McCall fight. He says Oliver McCall fought on May 16th. Mr. McCall was under medical suspension from the Mohegan Sun Athletic Commission since November of last year for a serious medical condition. Now, they didn't mention that. They didn't say what it was or anything like that. You know, put a little asterisk here, and you'll hear it later, but, you know, the commissions aren't, you know, they're not right all the time. And I will tell you, and the only reason why I'm telling you this about the Mohegan Commission is because I know personally, all right? I know personally because it affected me. So I can make this statement, all right? And I challenge, Mike Mazzulli, who's the president of the commission, or he's the commissioner or whatever, you know, to tell me I'm wrong. Excuse me. But they made an error on a fighter, all right? Because Mike Mazzulli, you know, and that's the problem with these commissions. A lot of them over-commission, and they become power-hungry. And Mike Mazzulli confused two fighters. He confused two fighters. They were both from the same state. One wasn't that good of a fighter, and the other one was pretty damn good. But he thought the one that was pretty damn good was the other guy, and he suspended him indefinitely because he thought that he wasn't good enough to be a professional fighter. Now, this guy had to jump through hoops. He went through all these medical tests. Everything passed fine. Mazzulli would not lift the suspension. Well, he made an error. He finally realized he made an error, admitted that he made an error, and lifted the suspension. But that particular fighter lost not 1 but 2 years off of his career, and he was in his early 20s. I mean, a very important part of his career. Why? Because in this case, this commission over-commissioned. You had a guy that wasn't willing to see that he made a mistake. Finally, you shove it down his throat, and he's got it. But after 2 years, and no repercussions were handed out to the commission. Hold that thought. I got to take a break. I want to finish my thought on the ABC and what they really stand for.
Are you ready, America? Then let's get it on with Fight Now TV. It's time, fight fans. Your channel has arrived. All the fights, all the names, all the action. From world-class boxing events to mixed martial arts showdowns and other combat sports matchups, Fight Now TV delivers the hits and more. Call your television provider and tell them you want to get it on with Fight Now TV. For more details, go to fightnow.com.
Broadcasting in all corners of the globe, on the web and radio.
He would scoff at a stretch of that man, I would think.
You're listening to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. From upstate New York in the good old US of A.
Boxing is here to stay because we are here to stay.
The best 2 hours of boxing talk on the airwaves.
Hey, fight fans, check out KOFantasyBoxing.com. KO Fantasy Boxing is boxing's only trademarked fantasy game. Check it out, www.KOFantasyBoxing.com. Select your own gym, your own fighters, track them through a season that can last from 3 months to a year, depending upon which league you join. You got to check this out, man. www.KOFantasyBoxing.com. Join it today. Again, www.KOFantasyBoxing.com. And tell him Billy C sent ya.
Now back to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C, the only radio host man enough to take a punch from Mike Tyson.
Wait a minute, man. Hold on there. Jeremy, man, I need you to take this one, all right?
Wait, what? No way. I can't do this.
Need I remind you I'm Billy C, damn it? Now put on that mustache and get in there.
Hey, look at me. I'm Billy C. Crap.
The undisputed heavyweight champion of Boxing Talk Radio. It's Talkin' Boxing with Billy C.
Test 1 2. Test 1 2. My fellow Americans, good evening. Welcome back to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It's great to be here discussing the sweet science with everybody. I love boxing. I love talking boxing. It's what I do.
Bill.
Wait, what?
Bill.
Why are you interrupting?
Yeah,
Wait, what?
Wrong.
What's the problem?
Billy,
what?
C.
I did not have...
We're gonna have to ask
wrong
you.
Speech. What do you mean wrong, Billy C? What's going on here? Fine, I'll go. I just wanted to talk some boxing on TPS radio.net. That's all I wanted to do. I don't need your damn show. I'll get my own talking wrestling with the other Billy C. Yeah, that sounds good. I've always been a Hulkamaniac anyway.
Broadcasting live, brother.
Welcome back to Talking Boxing with Billy C. on the mighty TPSradio.net, brother. What you gonna do, brother?
We're back. Yeah, I almost forgot the word. You're listening to Talking Boxing with Billy C Radio Show. You're watching us on the Fight Now television channel. We want to welcome the Fight Now audience. Just join us like they do every single day, Monday through Friday, from 6 to 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And if you, too, want to join in those reindeer games and watch the Talking Boxing with Billy C show on your television set, well, you need to call your local TV provider and tell them that you want Fight Now. That's it. And tell them that you want the Fight Now channel added to your sports channel lineup. It's that simple. Check out their website for all the information about the channel, www.fightnow.com. Talking about, I'm talking about the ABC right now, and I really didn't want to knock them because in most cases I agree. I think we need the ABC or something like it. You know, people cry like Teddy Atlas. He cries for a government controlled commission, which I totally am against. You know, anybody that thinks that our government can handle running boxing should just look at our post office situation. Can't even deliver a letter for 45 cents. You know, so I mean, I disagree with that. But maybe, you know, make people use something like the ABC and have a government oversee that, just to make sure the ABC is not, you know, getting out of hand and stuff like they are, in my opinion, right now. Now, they're saying that, you know, in addition to this, he says, you know, this is at least the third time the German Boxing Commission has allowed an American boxer to compete in their country while under medical suspension. They've also allowed Barry Butler. It's not Barry Butler, Greg. It's Barry Butler. And I know that because it was my fight. That fighter I ended up losing him off of a main event because of this situation. And I'll tell you that in a second. And Lamont Brewster. Now, Lamont Brewster and Barry Butler, these two conditions were years ago. Years ago. Not that it's okay, but years ago. And Barry Butler, by the way, he was suspended for 30 days for being knocked out in the States. And he went over and fought in Germany on the 29th day of the 30-day suspension and ultimately won. He knocked out, came back, fought again in the United States in Virginia or something like that, and then came back and was scheduled to fight on my card another couple of months after that. And the New York State Athletic Commission wouldn't let the fight go on because of this situation 3 fights earlier. 3 fights earlier. Again, it's called over-commissioning, and that's my problem. You know, I mean, he says, and Greg Serb goes on to say, you know, it's simple. When you have any U.S. fighter competing in a foreign country, it should be the responsibility of that foreign boxing commission to request a fight fax so they can determine if the boxer's if that boxer's record is accurate or if the boxer's in any type. So you're telling us that even outside the United States, you want someone to do business that apparently Fight Facts and the ABC are kind of in cahoots a little bit because it's the only one that anybody will accept. So you're expecting them to make money overseas as well. I find that a little flaky in my opinion. You know, if that's are you telling me that that's the only place on the planet that they can find out and double check if a fighter is under suspension? I don't think so, because I know that the ABC has a suspension list. They can find out directly from the ABC. Why do they have to obtain a fight fax? Just why? I don't get it. I don't get it. You know, he says at the upcoming ABC meeting, I will be instructing all members not to comply with any request from the German box. Instructing members? Shouldn't you reword that, Greg? Shouldn't you say requesting all members? Because remember, this isn't a mandatory membership. I don't have if I'm the commissioner of XYZ state, I don't have to belong to the ABC. I don't have to. It's not a requirement. You know, and getting back to the issue I was starting to tell you before the break, we had an issue with the Mohegan Sun. They made an error. They would not own up to it. There was an issue recently in the state of Florida. Okay, in the state of Florida, they lost a medical. Now, granted, the promoter should have had a copy of that record should have had a copy of that medical record as well, and they did not. But still, what ended up happening? A lot ended up happening. The fight couldn't go on because the blood work wasn't there, or whatever the medical wasn't there. And therefore, because that fight was scratched, it didn't have enough rounds to meet the criteria for the Florida State Boxing Commission, so the whole card was scrapped. So the promoter lost all kinds of money, the fighters lost a day at the office, and blah, blah, blah. All these different things. Why? Because the commission made a mistake. Do they own up to it? No. And the ABC... they say that they're out protecting the fighters, that they're trying to protect the fighter, that Oliver McCall needs protection, that Barry Butler needed protection, that Lamont Brewster needed protection. They're saying that they do that. Well, then how come when I sent Tim Luckenbaugh an email and gave him my idea about how we can protect the fighters easily from this day forward, have any fighter that's ready to turn pro, when they obtain their federal ID, which is the process here in the United States, when they obtain their federal ID from their home state, why not have them be required to go through a brain scan, a CAT scan of the brain? And so that we have, not that we're checking their brain, but that we have it on record, a fighter turning pro that hasn't had his first or her first professional fight, have a scan on record. So down the road, later on in the career of that fighter, a doctor, after a knockout or a severe beating or whatever a doctor deems reasonable to check, they do another head scan, and guess what, people? They have the old, original, normal one, which you have to assume is normal, to compare it to. To me, that's a layup. To me, that's a no-brainer. To me, that's a really good way of protecting the fighters, right? Oh, no. But that's not what the ABC said. They said, "No, that costs a lot of money, and if we were expecting the promoters to pay for that, which I wasn't, let the fighter pay for it. If you're going to become a carpenter, you become an apprentice, or you go to school. You have to invest in your career. If you're going to become a doctor, a lawyer, any profession, you invest in your career. You go to school, you get training, you buy equipment, whatever it is. You're investing in your career. Why is boxing different? Why is boxing different? A fighter wants to become a professional boxer, why not let that fighter invest in themselves? Let them pay for the scan. I'm not saying let the promoter pay. And the ABC rules it out. Oh, no, because, if promoters don't, if they get mad and they can't afford it, then they won't have fights. Then we won't have an ABC. Well, yeah. So what's your agenda, ABC? To put everyone that's involved with the ABC, give them different ways of making revenue, like Fight Facts and stuff like that, or do you truly want to protect the fighters? This seems more like a political move to me. This seems like a political move. We just know, based on the David Hay and Derek Chisora issue, that Europe has a free trade agreement. So you can have a German sanctioning body put on a fight in England, and one body says that the fighter doesn't have a license, and the other one says it does, and it's 100% legal. But no, wait, the ABC wants to control the German. Come on, man. Come on. It's a greed factor, and it's a case where we're over-commissioning again. Once again, we're why can't we just find a happy medium? Here in the States, and I can't speak for anything outside, but I have had extensive experience with several different commissions in the States. And what I find, in a nutshell, is that there's states that either over-commissions, where they think that they need to be involved in everything, and then there's the complete opposite, the under-commission states, the ones that under-commission, the ones that don't even seem like they care. So I don't know, man. I don't know. To get me going on that, you got Roy Jones Jr. We were talking about Roy Jones Jr. He's going to Poland. He was there for a press conference. He's going to be fighting this fight that he's fighting, which incidentally is against a light heavyweight. Is actually going to be David or Dawood Kostecki is 39-1 at light heavyweight. But this fight was contracted at 185 pounds. That makes it a cruiserweight fight. And John Wirt, who's the CEO of Roy Jones Jr.'s Square Ring Promotions, said something really foolish. You know, he says, Roy has set his goal to win the cruiserweight title. That's his new thing. You know something? You know, that statement to me sounds like he's thinking that, maybe Roy Jones isn't thinking too clearly. But since it's his new thing and since I work for Roy, I'm just going to, let him do it. How about this, John Wirt? How about protect Roy Jones Jr. from himself? Here's a guy that his last big accomplishment was in 2003 when he won the world heavyweight title from Johnny Ruiz. Since then, he's fought 13 times. He's got a record of 6 wins, 7 losses. Of those 7 losses, he's been knocked out brutally, not once, not twice, not 3 times, 4 times. 4 times. So, I mean, this is a guy that is, when you use the term shell of himself, I think I'm under, I'm not even giving you the full on that. Come on, man. Come on. I don't know. How about this one? You're talking about promoters and everything, right? Well, Roy Engelbrecht. Now, I don't know. I get him confused with the guy with the lions in the circus. Isn't that Roy Engelbert or Bert and Ernie? Or I don't know who he is. But listen, Roy Engelbrecht, he's been around a long time, right? He has. He's been around a long time. But let me ask you one question. Have you ever heard of him? I mean, maybe you have. But let me rephrase the question. In your opinion, is he like a top promoter? Is he one of the sport's top promoters? If you answered yes, you're lying to me, you're lying to the listeners, and most of all, you're lying to your own damn self. The truth of the matter is he's one of those mid-level tier promoters. I don't even consider him as highly ranked in the promoter divisions as Lou DiBella or Dan Goosen or Gary Shaw or Joe DeGuardia. He's not even in that level of Star Boxing. Star Boxing puts on way more shows than Roy has. Definitely more than he does now, and definitely more than he used to. But yeah, Roy Engelbert Humperdinck is he started the Fight Promoter University. And he's actually considering broadcasting this. And he wants to teach new people how to become as successful and as world famous as he himself is, which is not. This is just a promoter that figured out a little niche of how to snake some money from some people. The thing that cracks me up about young promoters is this. And the one thing I'm supportive about this promoter university is that hopefully they actually explain and there is reason for me to believe that they have this as a backdrop, or at least they try to sell the idea that he says this is the only, because they have a book now that's available. He says this is the only soup to nuts manual for a promoter, whether he be new or current. He says it provides invaluable information as you build a fight promotions business. That is the only line that I agree with, because I think a lot of young promoters today, first-time promoters that are starting out, make the same mistakes over and over and over. I was no different. I made the same mistakes. I lost a ton of money learning how to be a promoter. And that was my education. That I look at it as an education. All right. Now, maybe if this was available to me, a book or whatever, I could have read that book and it could have helped me. But Roy says that will prove invaluable information as you build a fight promotions company. Now, a fight promotions company is the key. And the reason why I say this is because too many promoters today believe that all you got to do is get your promoter's license and put on a show and you become rich and famous like Don King. That's what they all say. They don't realize that you have to invest money in your promotions company just as you would if you open up a restaurant or a deli or a widget manufacturer. I don't care what you did. You have to still open up and invest money and time and effort into your business. For some reason, boxing people that get involved in promotions don't do that. They don't want to invest a penny in anything. and that's why they fail. I think it's a joke that people would actually pay to learn this. I think the book idea, he's calling it a manual. I think it's a book. He's selling it for $200, $199. I think that idea is good, but I'm curious to know how many people would actually sit through this course, this college course that he's claiming is a college course, and then better yet, how many people have sat through and then actually can say that it helped them down the road. I haven't heard of any new promoter that has made a big splash aside from when they cracked through the ice here. So I don't know. We got Daxx Khan is going to be coming on the show here in a couple of minutes. He's scheduled to come on. He was scheduled to be on a couple of minutes ago. So they had the official press conference for Victor Ortiz and my man Josito Lopez yesterday in California. And I said yesterday how much I like this fight, and I definitely do. I definitely do. I like the fight. My only hang up is I hope that I just hope that Lopez isn't too much smaller, because I know that he's moving up in weight, and although Ortiz used to fight in that weight class, he's kind of filled out. So he definitely has the edge. I think Ortiz does, with the height and the size, but. I think that actually the height is actually the same, but I just mean general in size. But Josito Lopez made a statement yesterday in the press conference, which I loved. He says, everybody knows that let me get the exact quote. He says, it's no secret that Victor has a weak chin, and I plan to exploit that. I'll be looking for the knockout. If not, I know I need to win 10 out of 12 rounds to walk out of there a champion. I can't leave it in the judge's hands. No doubt about that, my man. But anyway, I don't know. Victor has been down, but he has shown that he does have a decent chin. And speaking about a decent chin, joining us right now, Daxx Khan. Dax, what's up, man?
Hey, how's everybody doing today?
Not too bad, not too bad. What do you think about the Josito Lopez and Victor Ortiz fight? You think the size is going to be an issue or what?
I don't think so. What I think is going to be the issue is what's in the issue of all Victor Ortiz fights? How does he handle the moment?
Well, I mean, do you think that do you agree with Josito Lopez's statement yesterday at the press conference that Victor Ortiz has a weak chin? I mean, do you think that that's a true statement?
I really don't think so. If you look at the knockout losses that Victor Ortiz has suffered, including the Floyd Mayweather one, they were all real hard shots. The first knockout loss that we've seen Victor suffer was at the hands of Marcos Maidana. Marcos Maidana knocked out a truck on a good day, so you can't hold that against him. I don't think he has a soft chin. He's been knocked out by some hard punchers, and he's never really been knocked out cold, and he does have the heart to get back up. So if you hit Victor Ortiz, and if you can't keep him down, he's going to come down and hit you, and you know something, getting hit by Victor Ortiz is no treat.
No, and I think he showed that he does get back up when he fought Andre Berto. So
absolutely, and Andre Berto's no treat either, you know what I mean? So Josito Lopez, I think he's just run his mouth a little bit. It's kind of false bravado in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I love the fight, and I think that he's a guy that definitely stands toe-to-toe. The question is he going to be able to withstand the extra size and power of Victor Ortiz? We'll get to see that. Who do you think they're going to put in with Chris Arreola? Chris Arreola is in line for another title shot. I would think that this card would have to have Chris Arreola fighting a substantial opponent. What do you think?
Right now, I think, the heavyweight fight that people are calling for, not that I know if it would happen, but, I'm crossing my fingers right here. Wouldn't it be nice if they put in Chris Arreola against Seth Mitchell?
Yeah, but Seth Mitchell is actually fighting on another card. He's fighting on one of the undercards of those main fights. But, yeah, that's a fight everybody wants to see. But, the problem with those fights is the business.
They can hook up one of those European heavyweights with Chris.
Well, the problem with the getting back to your thought with the Mitchell Arreola fight, that's the fight we all want to see. Of course, we want to see these two young heavyweights, so to speak, fight each other, and then the winner emerge to get a shot. But That's not the way the business works anymore. The way the business works is that these guys get to fight, marginal opposition, keep winning, and then get a shot without fighting each other. And I disagree with that. I agree with you. I would love to see Seth Mitchell fight a legitimate heavyweight. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Chaz Witherspoon, but Chris Arreola, I think, falls into a different category.
Oh, absolutely. Chris Arreola is an animal. Especially the Chris Arreola that we see today, a little bit better shape, a little bit trimmer, and we forget exactly how big Chris really is because of his loss to Vitaly Klitschko. Chris is almost 6'5". He's a big man. Walks around at 250. He's got power. He's got a great chin. Chris Arreola is not. If it wasn't for the Klitschko brothers, I think Chris would be a champion right now.
Yeah,
that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, I like Chris Arreola. I always have. He seems to have been taking his career a little more seriously. It was announced, the word on the street anyway, is that Chad Dawson is indeed going to move down in weight to fight Andre Ward at 168 pounds. I like that decision because I think that, this weekend, and we're going to talk about that in a second, but this weekend we have the Carl Froch fight and Lucien Bute. And, Bute obviously is the name that everyone talks about in the super middleweight division, aside from Andre Ward. And although I like the Dawson-Ward fight, I kind of feel that there's still unfinished business at 168. I think by Chad Dawson coming down to fight Ward at 168 leaves the door open, assuming Bute can win on Saturday night and assuming whoever wins this fight, whether it be Chad Dawson or Andre Ward, that winner should fight Bute. What's your thoughts?
I agree, especially if going by the scenario that you just described, if Bute wins on Saturday night and Chad Dawson came down to fight Andre Ward, and then, you know what, the question is, if Andre Ward won that fight, would he sign to fight Bute? Because he doesn't seem to want to fight Dawson, and he doesn't want to seem to fight Bute when, you know what, at the end of the Super 6, everybody was under the influence that the winner of the Super 6 was going to fight Bute. That was kind of the co-prize. And you know something? Andre Ward is plenty big enough to move up to light heavyweight. Why not claim a second title division?
Well,
second divisional title.
I think he's going to eventually. We all think that he's going to move up in weight, but
when he outgrows it and he has no choice in the matter.
But I think that if he moved up without fighting Bute, assuming Bute wins, listen, Bute's in a tough fight this week against Carl Froch. I mean, there's no question about that. I mean, it's not a layup fight for him, not to mention he's going over to England. But I just think that assuming he wins, the public wanted to see Andre Ward, who many think is the best super middleweight, against the other guy that many think is the best, and that's Lucien Bute. Chad Dawson will just throw a wrench in the pile if he comes down to 168 and beats Andre Ward. Now you got to see Bute against Dawson.
Here's something interesting. Let me ask you this real quick. Something very interesting. We always complain about how a fighter moves up in weight and then automatically gets a title shot because they held the title in a lower weight. Wouldn't it be interesting if Chad dropped down a weight class and all of a sudden he got a world title shot? Would we complain about that one, Bill?
Well, he would be if he's fighting Andre Ward, and no one's complaining. He's talking about moving down in weight, 168. He currently has a world title at light heavyweight, and he would move down in weight to fight Andre Ward, who technically has not one but two belts in super middleweight, and actually the ring belt. So he's got three. So, then if Chad Dawson won the fight, he would have to determine which weight class he wants to campaign in. So, yeah, I think you're right. I think, a fighter that's a champion can move up or down and immediately get a world title shot, which is kind of crazy.
If Lucien Bute wins on Saturday, and if, let's say, Chad Dawson drops down, or even if Chad Dawson doesn't drop down, and if Andre Ward doesn't fight one of the two next, it's going to hurt his career and his reputation greatly. He's going to start getting the label of a ducker. He's going to start getting a Floyd Mayweather over him.
Right. Well, you know what?
What are we worried about? The O? Someday the O's got to go.
Well,
if you fight the right competition.
I don't look at Andre Ward like that. I think Andre Ward will find anybody. I think his problem is that he's with a promoter that's not willing to open up a checkbook. But then again, they are willing to fight each other here, Chad Dawson and Andre Ward. So now there's a couple of good fights this weekend. But let's hold that thought for a second. I'm going to stick you on hold. We're going to take a short break. When I come back, you can give us the boxing schedule roundup for this weekend, all right?
All right, pay the bills.
All right, we'll be right back.
Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. now has official merchandise available on TalkinBoxing.com. T-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, and mugs. And yes, even undergarments. Talkin' Boxing apparel is the perfect gift for the boxing fan in your life. Log on to www.talkinboxing.com. That's TalkinBoxing.com and place your order today.
Join us here for 2 hours as Billy and the gang do what they do best.
Every time I start talking about boxing, a white man got to pull Rocky Marciano out their ass. Rocky Marciano was good, but compared to Joe Louis, Rocky Marciano ain't.
Hit Joe Louis's ass.
Joe Louis was 75 years old when he fought.
Huh? What?
We're supposed to be talking boxing.
It's Talking Boxing with Billy C.
As Billy C sits here in the multi-million-dollar Talkin' Boxing Studios, sipping a fine wine before you're even out of bed, you should be thinking, damn, I wish I had a mustache like his. It's the Talkin' Boxing with Billy C show. He's Billy C, and you're not. Sucks to be you.
Now let's dig into our archives and hear a rare interview when Billy C first became the champion of boxing talk radio. Hello, Billy C. As the new champ, can we ask you a few questions?
Why, certainly.
Okay, your fans would like to know how you and your corner have successfully walloped the competition.
We're not ordinary people. We're morons.
Anything else?
I'm a victim of circumstance.
Did your success finally come when you made the show 5 days a week for 2 hours? What do you think?
I'm trying to think, but nothing happens.
Now, please tell the listeners what you've learned from making it this far.
Certainly. If at first you don't succeed, keep on sucking till you do succeed.
Great words of wisdom, Billy C. Keep up the great work as the undisputed People's Champion with your show, Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. Any last words to anyone who's listening?
This is your fault, you bonehead.
And we're back. You are listening to the Talking Boxing with Billy C radio show. You're watching us on the Fight Now television channel. Well, at least Daxx is listening, and Daxx joins us right now. And Daxx is going to give us his boxing schedule roundup for this weekend, man. What do you got cooking?
Hey, okay, how's everybody doing? Excuse me. Starting today, actually, instead of tomorrow, is my weekend roundup. In Buenos Aires, Argentina, light flyweight, Jessica Yolanda Bopp in ladies' world title action. Bopp's WBA and WBO female world divisional championships are going to be on the line against Annabelle Ortiz. Bopp, as we all know, in my opinion, is the best female fighter going today. But Ortiz is a tough and very formidable opponent. Also on that lineup, we'll see super flyweight Roberto Domingo Sosa try to keep his perfect 22-0 resume intact when he takes on Javier Armando Rodriguez. That event will be aired on Argentine TYC Sports and brought to us by OR Promotions. At the House of Blues tonight in Boston, Massachusetts, the Bella brings us some local East Coast favorites in the main event. Welterweight Danny O'Connor takes on Daniel Sostre. Neither is a world beater, but both men can fire up the crowd for certain. Also, the remaining contestants will be sort of a night of unbeaten looking to advance in the game. 12-0 super featherweight Ryan Kielczewski will face a name we have not heard in a long time pertaining to about of significance, Eric Aiken. 10-0 featherweight Luis Rosa, 11-0 power and punching. Super middleweight Jonathan Peter will also be on the card. Starting Friday in the UK, Frank Warren has an enjoyable event. Featherweight title action takes place as 12-1 Lee Shelby meets 11-1 Patrick O'Keefe. Shelby in the contest defends one of those BBBFC and Commonwealth British Empire Lonsdale belts that we can't seem to agree exactly on what they are, Billy. Also showcasing their skills that evening will be 12-0 welterweight Frankie Gavin, 9-0 middleweight Liam Smith, 6-0 featherweight, Craig Evans, and 4-0 light welterweight Frankie Luke Robinson. St. Louis, Missouri, ESPN2's Friday Night Fights has another quality event. Lightweight contender Jin Hoon Kim battles unbeaten Alisher Rahimov. Light heavyweight Ryan Coyne takes his 19-0 record in against Julius Fogel. And 10-0 unblemished heavyweight Vincent Thompson is also going to be in action that evening at the Oasis Hotel Complex in Cancun, Quintana Roo, Mexico on Saturday. They're going to host the weekly United States Fox Espanol event. Super featherweight and unblemished Sergio Thompson carries his 22-0 resume in against Juan Ramon Solis. Lightweight knockout artist Pablo Cesar Canel arrives ready for action to take on formidable Fidel Monterosa Munoz. Just to know, 18 of Canel's wins are by knockout. And also, unbeaten heavyweight Deontay Wilder will step in the ring. Wilder, another knockout artist, has a 21-0 resume with all 21 wins by knockout. And 10-0 super featherweight prospect Francisco Vargas is also slated to battle. And back to the UK one more time for the week. United Kingdom Sky TV airs the event we were talking about before, Billy. That's brought to us by Matchroom Boxing, one of the most highly anticipated bouts of the year thus far. We're going to witness IBF super middleweight champion Lucien Bute is going to bring his title and 30-0 unbeaten record into hostile territory against Carl the Cobra Froch, the man who has the toughest schedule in all of boxing over the last 3 years, hands down. 13-0 super bantamweight Carl Frampton's going to be on the bill. He's going to take on Raul Morales for the vacant IBF Intercontinental Super Bantamweight title. Also, 6 other unbeaten perfect prospects will be defending their perfect records as well. I'm looking forward to this weekend's action, Billy. How about you?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the Carl Froch fight against Lucien Bute. How do you see that one going?
I see Bute going in very slow for the first couple rounds, trying to figure Froch out. Bute, as we all know, Billy, not too familiar with outside hometown territory, considering most of his fights have been in his adopted country of Canada, where he is pretty much the biggest attraction in the country when it comes to the sport of boxing. But he made that one mistake years ago over there when he gassed out against Librado Andrade, and I think with this much on the line, with this much anxiety going into the fight in hostile territory, Bute is going to take those first few rounds very cautiously, make sure he doesn't use too much gas, and after that, in my opinion, he's going to pick Carl Froch apart. Froch, as I told you before on the show, his style with them hands down to his waist, almost Sergio Martinez style, but not as quick as Martinez, is tailor-made for Bute. If Bute catches him with 2 or 3 shots to the body, Carl Froch is going to pause up and Bute is going to knock him out. That's how I see the fight going. I see Froch looking up at the ring lights before the 8th round.
You know, it's funny because in addition to Froch keeping his hands down, which is completely ridiculous, especially when you're fighting against a guy with the hand speed of Bute. There's one aspect of that fight, and I know you know how much of a devastating body puncher Lucien Bute is, but the thing is that I can't recall, and I was thinking of this yesterday, I can't recall another fighter that actually went after the body of Carl Froch. I'm not even sure if he can handle body shots. What's your thoughts?
You know something? Do you remember the night me and you sat down and watched him fight Jermaine Taylor?
Yeah.
He caught. If you watch that fight again, Jermaine never had a great body attack, but there was times in there when Jermaine did hit the body a little bit. When he threw in combinations, Carl didn't like it. You could see by the look on his face he didn't like it. Matter of fact, I remember at one point in time during the fight, Taylor caught him with a little body shot, and Carl tried to do that. Shook his head, waved it off like, you didn't do nothing to me, you didn't hurt me. But you know what? Another problem with Bute is even if you fight with your hands up high, and Froch, if Froch did fight with his hands up high and not foolishly with his hands down low like he usually does, and that's right there, that's asking Bute to knock you out because the body shot is Bute's forte. Ask everybody who's ever caught a Bute uppercut to the liver or a hook to the left. side of their body by Lucian Bute. Well, it has there. And matter of fact, thinking of it, are there any that hasn't been knocked out by that shot?
Who?
Carl Froch is no different. He doesn't have a steel chin. He's got heart and he gets back up. But he can't take that punishment from Bute. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, it's the guy who he knocked out with the body was Librado Andrade. Bute knocked out Librado Andrade with a body shot. I mean,
and he knocked out Edson Miranda with a body shot.
Right.
And he's knocked out Jesse Brinkley with a body shot. He's set up everybody he's knocked out pretty much. He's hurt with the body shot. Even if you followed up to the head afterward, it was the body shot and that liver punch that has totally paused them.
And what about his uppercut? He's got a pretty damn good uppercut, too.
He's got the best uppercut in the business right now.
Right. So
that's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying. If Froch fights with his hands low, he's in a no-win situation because Bute has the power to take the head off. And if he puts his hands up high to protect himself, Bute is going to catch him to the body. And you know what? Froch, when he does fight with his hands up, he doesn't keep like a closed, winky right type defense. And you know something? That's perfect for Bute's uppercut because if he just steps in a little bit, if he looks over to the corner just a little bit with that big mouth girlfriend of his that just never shuts up at the fights, he's going to catch himself a big uppercut to the solar plexus, and the fight's going to be over. One way or another, this is going to end up in a knockout in favor of Lucian Bute, unless Lucian Bute should happen to gas, which I don't think he's going to because they worked very hard on that since the first time that happened to him in the Librado Andrade fight. Hometown crowd can only boost your adrenaline for so long.
Yeah, well,
everybody's going to feel the punch that night. You know what? You're going to hear, instead of away, you're going to hear, oh.
Well, I tell you what, Carl Froch is a tough out. I mean, he's tough to knock out. Whether Bute knocks him out or not, I don't know. But I do think that Bute, and the fact that he's going into Froch's hometown is you got to assume that Bute is going to have to win, decisively to get a decision, and I like it. And one last question, who do you like better against Bute? Let's just say Bute wins, because it's not a layup, and I wouldn't be shocked if Monday morning we talk about Carl Froch's great performance and how he beat Bute. I would not be shocked. To me, I'd be more shocked that there's plenty of other fights I'd be more shocked at the outcome. Well, I'd be shocked if Tony Thompson beat Klitschko. That I'd be shocked at. But if we're talking about Froch beating Bute on Monday, I wouldn't be shocked. But assuming Bute wins, who would you rather see Bute fight? Would you rather see him fight Andre Ward, which seems to be the fight we all want, or would you rather see him fight Dawson if Dawson beats Ward?
I agree with your statement. Just real quick, sorry, Dave Murphy, that was not a Bute love fest. That was just, talking facts. But yes, I wouldn't be surprised if I'm picking Lucian Bute, but if Carl Froch did win, that would be no surprise. Carl Froch is a tough guy. His resume says so. He's beaten a lot of tough guys, and he's never truly been dominated. If he does win that fight, I would personally prefer to see Lucian Bute against Chad Dawson than Andre Ward, because it would be more of a fight for the purist. Andre Ward, I don't know, his style just kind of aggravates and annoys me, and to be honest with you, it bores me. When I can't sleep, there's three fighters whose box sets I put in: Andre Ward, Floyd Mayweather, and I put in Bernard Hopkins. And sad to say, I put in Chad Dawson if I really can't sleep.
You're right, and I agree with all of them. Mayweather's not, although Mayweather's been a little more exciting of late, but Bernard Hopkins, I can't even stand watching his fights. They're just...
Yeah, of late, but don't forget, he's 43-0. 43 have tried, 43 have failed. So guess what? 42 of them helped put me to sleep.
Right. So those nights, all those nights, you had a good night's sleep. But Dax, great job. Look forward to it next time, my man.
All right, everybody, have a good week in the bouts. Talk to you next week. Thanks a lot, Bill.
All right, that's my main man, Daxx Khan. And he's given us his thoughts on some stuff, as well as his boxing schedule roundup. So, I like the fight. We got Murphy in the chat room, and he's not a big fan of Bute. As a matter of fact, I just asked him in the chat room, would you give Ward credit if he beats Froch? And he says, You know, I basically am asking him if he would change his mind, thinking that Bute is overrated, and he said no. It'll just convince me he's one of the top two. Listen, I don't know what Murph's problem with Bute is, but and I do know what the general argument is when you start comparing him with an Andre Ward, is the level of opposition. There's no question about that. Andre Ward and Carl Froch. Honestly, I think Carl Froch has fought the tougher level of opposition pound for pound than anyone in the sport of boxing. Andre Ward has to be mentioned in that conversation as well. Bute, on the other hand, has not. But then again, neither has guys like Sergio Martinez. You know, look at Sergio Martinez's choice of opponents, his last handful of fights, and you're going to see similar to what Bute has. So, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Is that the statement? I don't know, man. I don't know. But did you hear about Juan Manuel Marquez? Now, Juan Manuel Marquez was looking to fight 2 more times. He said at the beginning of this is the year. This is the year for his career. He's fighting three times. He already fought once. He's looking for a major fight in July. And then he was looking to close out his career. He's hoping that he gets a shot at Manny Pacquiao should the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight not materialize, and then walk away. I predict that the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight will materialize, and Juan Manuel Marquez will end up fighting Eric Morales as his farewell fight, his final fight. However, that's in November. We're talking about July, and some of the names that were on his list were the top fighters in the 140-pound class. And it was announced kind of yesterday, not really highly announced. It was rumored yesterday from Team Top Rank that Juan Manuel Marquez will not be fighting, at least here in the States, as of now in July. It was scheduled to be July 14th, and it was scheduled to take place at Dallas Cowboys Stadium, and it was going to be a pay-per-view against a major opponent. And so far, no one's agreed to Marquez. Now, Marquez has said, well, hey, then forget it. I'll fight in Mexico in July, and I'll still hope for my big fight in November. You know what I give? I give an attaboy to Juan Manuel Marquez, and I'll tell you why. Juan Manuel Marquez is the guy that should be dictating the fight. What I think has happened here is that the 3 names that he's mentioned aren't afraid to fight Juan Manuel Marquez, but I think the greed factor with them and or their manager and promoters and all the other cooks in that kitchen got so greedy that they outpriced themselves. And Juan Manuel Marquez, instead of giving up money that he's worth, he says, basically, screw you. I'll make the same money in Mexico. And that's what he's doing. So I give an attaboy to my man, Juan Manuel Marquez, obviously a pound-for-pound top fighter. But anyway, we talked a little about Josito Lopez and Victor Ortiz. I told you guys I love that fight. Also, they had the press conference yesterday officially announcing it. We talked about it earlier. Victor Ortiz says, I'm not taking anyone lightly. Josito's a great fighter. See, right off the bat, it seems like, Victor Ortiz, I'm not taking anyone lightly, is his first quote. He says, that, you know what that means? That means, I'm taking it lightly. It's the same thing as when a fighter says, hey, that didn't hurt. You know what that means? It hurt me. So, right off the bat, we can rest assured that Victor Ortiz is going to be taking Josito Lopez lightly. He says, Josito is a great fighter. We share one thing in common. We have a lot of heart. That's ironic because later on, Josito Lopez questions Victor's heart. He says it's going to be a great night. He's ready to fight, and that makes 2 of us. He says it's too bad that Berto failed the drug test, but at the end of the day, we have to prepare for another champion, and that's Josito Lopez. I've been training for more than 6 months for this fight, but that's what world champions do. I have to be prepared to fight anyone if I want to prove that I'm the best. Lopez is a warrior, and I know he's going to come to fight in June. And Josito knows this is a huge opportunity for him on a big stage. That's why I can't take him lightly. Now, FYI, the WBC is putting their silver welterweight belt on the line. They're calling it their vacant silver welterweight belt. Come on, man. It's an interim belt. It's an interim belt. You know, come on. Josito Lopez, my man, says, I'm excited about this opportunity. I've been training and working real hard. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I'm going to take advantage of it. People have seen me fight know I'm tough, and I leave it all in the ring. Once you see me fight, you'll fall in love with my style, which is 100% true. He says, I plan to win over some of Victor's fans on June 23rd. That line makes me nervous. That line makes me feel that, you know, he's thinking of showing well when he should be thinking of winning. And he should be saying a statement like, I plan on winning over all of Victor's fans on June 23rd. He goes on to say it's no secret that Victor has a weak chin, and I plan to exploit that. This is what I was talking about before. He says, I'll be looking for the knockout. If not, you know, I'll need to win 10 out of 12 rounds. I can't leave it in the judges' hands. It's true, and that's not something new. I know we're all complaining about the judging lately and everything else, but, you know, it's a joke. It's a joke, but the truth of the matter is that everybody that goes into a ring, really, you bring your own judges with you, like Sam Langford said. You got one in your left and one in your right. Don't let it go to the scorecards. When you're traveling somebody's backyard, don't let it go to the scorecards. He says the difference between this fight and the last time I fought at Staples. Oh, I'm sorry. He says, I'm aggressive. I like to bang. I come forward and put the pressure on my opponents. Chris Arreola says the difference between this fight and the last time I fought at Staples is that I'm in shape this time. I'm training and I'm ready to fight. He says it's an honor to be fighting at Staples Center again. The last time I left here, I was dejected. I was in tears because I had lost the biggest fight in my career. It was embarrassing, but I'm going to leave here this time with my hands held high. He says, my job is to put the fight in my hands. I'm going to get the knockout, give the fans what they want to see. I'm not going to leave it to the judges. You know, that seems to be, you know, a common theme with everybody. You know, I guess it leaves, you know, a lot to be desired about our judges. You know, most fighters don't think they're going to get a fair shake, so they gotta go look for a knockout. But, you know, yesterday we talked a little about Antonio Tarver and Latif Coyote. And I made a couple of statements about Antonio Tarver. You know, I'm convinced that Antonio Tarver is here to make a payday. I think that that's the only reason why he's doing it. I think the only reason why Roy Jones Jr. is doing it is because he needs to make a payday. These guys made millions and millions of dollars throughout their career, and they found millions and millions of ways to spend it. And Antonio Tarver, who and Roy Jones both have gigs on rival networks as ringside analysts, and they both do a decent job. I like you know, Roy Jones's version of Roy Jones now. He does a better job than he used to. He used to just really hurt his own arm, patting himself on the back during the broadcast. But now he does a pretty decent job. He's non-biased. But Antonio Tarver is the best one out of former fighters. I mean, this guy does a fantastic job. B.J. Flores does a good job too. But Antonio Tarver is risking that by fighting this fight because I think Latif Coyote is going to win. I think not only is he going to beat Tarver, but he's going to knock him out. And I think that the indication of the fact that Antonio Tarver may look like he's in good shape, and like I said, I've seen him train, and I've talked to people that work with him on a regular basis in Tampa. They all say how great he looks in the gym. But by statements like, if we miss a day to get some rest, that's okay. It's not the end of the world. As long as I'm eating good and living right and getting my rest, that's the main thing. We're not going to beat ourselves up in sparring. I get fatigued for the point where I'm not as sharp anymore. They pull me out. I'm doing things like that as a veteran, and we're doing it real smart. What's going to happen when you start becoming fatigued during a fight against a young buck like Latif Coyote, Antonio Tarver? The magic has run out. Latif Coyote is mad. Now, Antonio Tarver feels that he's got a lot on Latif Coyote because he's gotten to call a lot of his fights. He's been critical during those broadcasts. He's been critical after. He's been critical of this whole press tour. And Latif Coyote, well, he's made some comments like, I've had a great camp at the Wildcard Gym. I have a great team. We started early, so I've been working for a long time. It'll be 3 months by fight time. I'm in the best condition ever. My body can take anything he throws at me. If he wants to trade, I'm going to trade. If he wants a box, I'm going to box. I can go 12 rounds without a problem. But there's no way he will be able to withstand the kind of punishment I plan on giving him unless he plans on running away all night. Either way, I'm knocking this man out. I think Antonio Tarver will run away most of the night, and eventually he's going to run out of gas, and Latif Coyote's going to catch up with him. End of story. Latif says if it goes the distance, they might try to rob me, so I am going to put Tarver to sleep before the 12th round. That way, I am the judge and the jury. I agree with Latif Coyote. Antonio Tarver, for some reason, has the backing, so to speak, of judging and everything else. Maybe because he's such a likable guy. Excuse me, but I agree with Latif Coyote. Regardless of how the fight goes, I think Coyote needs to knock him out. Other guy on that card is Winky Wright, which honestly, no disrespect, he was one of my favorite fighters when he fought. Great defensive skills and everything, but Daxx Khan should have added him to the boring list, because he's a boring fighter, and he's going to be fighting Peter Kid Chocolate Quinlan, so we'll see what happens with this one. So I don't know, but the fight of the night could very well be between Delvin Rodriguez and Austin Trout. I like this fight. I love this fight. I think that this is a good one. Now, Delvin Rodriguez says, I've been training in the Adirondacks for the last 4 weeks, and will stay here until I leave for the fight. Where are you training, Delvin? I'm in the Adirondacks. You're telling me that you're around here and you haven't gotten in touch with me? Come on, man. This is my third camp with my trainer and former heavyweight contender, Finelli Felice. Little attachment between Finelli Felice and myself. He was the first fighter I ever managed. That's right. He was the first fighter I ever managed. We turned him pro, me and John Carlo. And we had a great little run with Finelli Felice. Did fight for a world title at one point. So great guy. So I'm glad to see Delvin is working with Finelli. So he's been sparring with Shu Pal and Dennis Dolan, who they call Mama's Boy. So we'll see where he is. He's saying that the Adirondacks, I'm trying to think where the heck he possibly could be training in the Adirondacks. Albany isn't quite the Adirondacks. And as far as getting into the Adirondacks, even when you go to Saratoga, there's a gym in Saratoga. But then from that point, I don't know where he could be. So that's pretty wild that he says he's in the Adirondacks. But anyway, we'll be looking forward to that fight when it happens. I think that might be the fight of the night on that card. Anyway. I'm still grumbling and stumbling and bumbling over this whole Vladimir Klitschko BBBFC thing to David Haye. First of all, David Haye's in for a big fight of his own. He's going to be taking on Derek Chisora. I mentioned to you that our one-time UK correspondent is back, Thomas Newman, and he's going to be covering that fight for us ringside. He's going to be doing a preview on the card on Derek Chisora and David Haye. So I'm looking forward to that. And, I'm just a little disappointed in the Klitschko brothers for being so adamant about the BBBFC and David Haye, should David Haye get by Derek Chisora. The bottom line is this. I don't think that the Klitschko brothers are going to have much of a choice should David Haye or whoever wins that fight, David Haye or Derek Chisora, whoever wins that fight is going to be slated to fight one of the Klitschkos. There's no question about that, at least in my opinion anyway. But we'll have to wait and see on that. One last thing before I take a quick break here. Martin Murray is scheduled to fight again. He challenged for the world middleweight title. We know that. He's going to be taking on French middleweight champion Kareem Anshaw next month. It's going to be taking place on the Road to Glory show. That's going to be promoted by Hatton Promotions, and that's taking place on June 16th. Also on that card, there's going to be a vacant title on the line in the super bantamweight division. Scott Quigg and Rendell Monroe. How about that fight, man? That's actually a good fight. You got youth versus age there. but we'll have to see what's going on with that one, and we'll see where they go from there. So another great, looks like another great card by Hatton Promotions, and finally, Daxx says to me, "Oh yeah, I'm getting you on the list. I'm getting you on the list." I don't think Daxx really wants me to be on the Hatton Promotions list. So you know what? I reached out to them myself, and they said, "Oh yeah, you're on the list. We're going to get you on the list now." And they said to me, "No one ever put your name on the list." I'm like, "Yeah, okay." Daxx did it 3 times. 3 times he did it, and I guess when I did it, it finally came through. So I don't know, man. I don't know about the people over at Hatton Productions, but I know one thing: I got to take a break.
The 2012 Summer Olympic Games unfold in 5 months in London. The honor and the history of playing host goes back a long way. How long? That's next on Sports Shorts with me, the Sports Princess.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Stouffer's, helping bring your family together with wholesome dinner options, even on the busiest of nights. Find dinner table ideas to bring your family together at letsfixdinner.com. To get kids involved in dinnertime conversation, ask specific questions, not broad ones. Instead of what happened today at school, try what was the best thing that happened today. The more specific you are, the more they'll have to say. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Legend has it that the Olympics go back to Hercules, but let's leave Greek mythology out of it. The modern games opened in 1896. Since Athens couldn't afford to put them on, a businessman ponied up the coin. Pole vaulting, weightlifting, shot put, and swimming, few of the handful of events. Since those days, some of the original sports remain. Others come and go, depending on the whims of the International Olympic Committee. Australia, France, Germany, and China have hosted summer games, and this will be the 3rd time for London. As for the Winter Games, the U.S. has hosted them 4 times since they started in 1924 in France, featuring sports like alpine cross-country skiing, figure skating, and such. Between the Summer and the Winter Games, there are hundreds of sports and thousands of athletes. You never know what city is going to get a crack at hosting next. I'm the Sports Princess with Sports Shorts.
Talking Boxing with Billy C. Every week, 2 hours of the best boxing talk on the radio.
Mike Tyson looked like he put on some pounds. He was fat. He went into McDonald's and he just said to them, "Hey, give me 6 of everything on the menu." He put on 2 watches and covered 2 time zones. I'm talking fat here. Got on a scale the other day and it said, "Come on, one of you guys got to get off." Last thing I heard is that he jumped into the ocean and he left a ring around the continent. He's fat.
Boxing with Billy C.
Now back to Talking Boxing with Billy C. He may not have an Excellence in Broadcasting award, but the night's still young. And he's got martinis. So you never know what may be by morning. It's Talking Boxing with Billy C. Talking Boxing with Billy C.
The one, the only, Don King.
Makes me feel good, Billy, to have you, the #1 show in the country, Talking Boxing with Billy. So I invite each and every American that's listening to this great show to tune in, because we want you to be there with Billy and me.
St. Jimmy's coming down across the alleyway, up on the boulevard like a zip gun on parade. Lights up the silhouette, he's just a buttonette, coming at you on the count of 1.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Phew. Didn't even have to take off my shoes and socks. You are listening to the Talking Boxing with Billy C. Radio Show. You're watching us on the Fight Now television channel. If you don't have Fight Now on your TV lineup or your sports channel TV lineup, if you don't get Fight Now on your TV, damn it, well, then you need to call your television provider right now and tell them that you want Fight Now, okay? Jeez. Try and get that out. Try and promote the Fight Now channel. And speaking of promoting the Fight Now channel, if you're going up to the International Boxing Hall of Fame, that's right, the International Boxing Hall of Fame, which is going to take place on June. If you're going up there, one of the best things I go up there for is the card show, right? I go up there. Well, guess what? I'm going to be hanging out with my man, Clay Moyle, right at the card shop. I'm going to be taking over half his table. Half his table I'm taking over. I know he's going to probably put me to work peddling his books, but you know what I'm going to be there for? Peddling the show, of course, and Fight Now. So stop by and see me, and we'll be talking about my book coming out, which I won't have with me, but we're going to be doing some pre-selling. We're also going to be giving some information away about the show, about the Fight Now channel, and also about premium podcasts and all that stuff. So if you're going to be going up to the International Boxing Hall of Fame, make sure you swing by, say hello to me. I'm going to be at one of those tables. You know how it is at the card show. I'll be at one of the tables. Just look for Clay Moyle. I'll be with him. And say hello. Come by and say hello. Most important, we want you to make some plans for us, our Hall of Fame. Because I'll tell you right now, if it's not sold out, and I'm making a statement. I almost said it the other day, but I'm going to say it now. We have a goal. We want to sell out the whole event, and if it's not sold out by August 1st, we may not do it. And the reason why is because this year there's so many people coming, and the expense last year. I can't even begin to tell you how much money I ended up forking over myself just to make it all happen. And I just can't do it this year. So we need people to show up. So, and I'm not even looking for local people. We're not even the place is not that big. So to sell out is very easy. So if you've been waiting to make your plans, make them now. Because if not, we're going to move in a different direction. So, hey, I didn't want to say it, but that's the truth. So I know a lot of people are waiting to make their plans a little later. They want to check out their schedules and everything else. There's no refund, but, I mean, if we weren't going to do it, then, of course, it's a refund. But what you can do, if you bought a ticket, is that you can, if for some reason you can't make it, you can assign that ticket to someone else. So you could actually sell that ticket to someone else and then just, tell us, and we put a different name on there. So it's not like you're going to lose your money. And if the event does for some reason not happen, anybody that has paid already will get their money back. So the only time there's no refund is if you buy a ticket and then tell us, oh, you can't come because space is limited. We can't do that. So once you buy a ticket, that spot is taken. So just make your plans and come. That's all I'm going to say. Telefutura announced the other day that on June 9th, we're going to see Mick Williams and McJoe Arroyo in separate fights, of course. Mick Williams Arroyo is 11-1. He's got 10 knockouts. He's taken on Rivas. Not Rivas, but Dangerous. They call him Dangerous Rivas. He's 12 wins, 10 losses, and a draw. Usually when they call somebody dangerous, that's because, he's got some losses. And Felipe Rivas, he does have some losses. He's got 10, but he's got more wins than losses, right? So he's going to be taking on him. This was a guy that also fought a former world champion, two-time world champion, Ivan Calderon. So he's a dangerous fighter. And he's going to be taking on the Mick Williams Arroyo and his brother McJoe McRorio. Just don't go in and get a McCheeseburger. What's with all this mix? They're not even Irish. But anyway, McJoe Arroyo, he's 10-0, 5 knockouts. He's a bronze medalist in 2007. He's going to be taking on his opponent in the super flyweight division. Is going to be Tamio. Tamio is how you pronounce his name. I believe it's Tamio is how you pronounce his last name. He's got a record of 12 wins and 3 losses with a draw. So a couple of good fights there. Freddie Roach recently was asked, what the deal is with Manny Pacquiao. How's he coming along? How's his training going along? And they bring up something. They're always like, Manny Pacquiao, who's been accused of using steroids, between the end of 2008 and all the way through the end of 2009. Think about what Manny Pacquiao did. He destroyed Oscar De La Hoya, Ricky Hatton, and Miguel Cotto, all 3 of them, knockout wins. But since then, he's fought 4 times and has not registered a knockout. And people are wondering why. We have a lot of reasons. We have a lot of things that we're thinking about is the reason. And one thing that Freddie Roach doesn't think is that his skills are diminishing because he says, and I quote, "I believe he's a better fighter now. He's more focused. If the knockout comes, it'll come, and it'll be a bonus. But obviously, Timmy Bradley's a tough guy. He's undefeated. he's going to be more resilient than people think. But I think you're going to see the best Manny Pacquiao ever against Timothy Bradley. So we'll see what happens. Manny Pacquiao, when they asked him about what Freddie Roach said, he said, "I'm just doing my best in training. That's it." He says, "I'm working hard to give a good fight." And then he just grabbed the microphone and said, "Imagine all the people." No. That wasn't him. I know it sounded like him, but it wasn't. Carlos Molina is going to be taking on Leonardo Dominguez June 16th. We're going to see that one in Far, Texas. Far away in Texas. Far. Oh, that Texas. Oh, that state again. They're crazy, aren't they? A bunch of crazy MFers, huh? Come on, man. You never know what's going to happen then. It's going to be on Soleo Boxeo on Telefutura. That's June 16th, so we got that lined up. So, June's actually becoming a solid month for some fights, that's for sure. And speaking of fights and being solid, don't forget about Gleason's Gym. They got a bunch of events going on. Check out their website. You can get there easily by visiting our website, www.BillyCBoxing.com. Click the Gleason's banner, which you can't miss. It's right on the right-hand side. But do us a favor. Daxx and I want to do a big-time, I don't know what you want to call it, series, storyline, whatever, for you. That's right. We want to make you famous. And wait a minute. There is some criteria. You got to sign up for the Gleason's Boxing Fantasy Camp. That's what you got to do. And then once you sign up, you got to let me know. Drop me an email, Billy@TalkinBoxing, TalkinBoxing, and tell us that you signed up. Then we're going to put all the names in a hat. We're going to pull the winner. And, this camp runs from August 23rd, 24th, 25th to 26th. So by the second week or first or second week in August, we'll announce the winner. Then we're going to do a preliminary story about you and what you're thinking, why you're doing the fantasy camp, and then follow every step of the way. Every day of your fantasy camp, we're going to do it. We're going to get some video footage. We're going to do some print stuff. So we want you to get on the show here, and I will do an interview and all that stuff if you're going to be taking part of the boxing fantasy camp. So do yourself a favor. Sign up right now. Tell them Billy C sent you. Tell them you want the Billy C discount. You can call ahead. Call Gleason's directly, 718-797-2872. That's 718-797-2872. That's Gleason's Gym in Brooklyn, New York. Or you can get to their website for all the stuff they got going on, including certifications and all kinds of special events. And discount tickets for some of Gleason's own fighters that are fighting on pro and amateur cards coming up in the near future. So give them a call, 718-797-2872, or visit them by going to our website, www.BillyCBoxing.com, and click the Gleason's banner. Just make sure when you call them, you tell them Billy C sent you, and demand a Billy C discount. They love it when you say that. We got a fight that's taking place June 1st. All these fights that seem good. Ronald Cruz is going to be fighting Prentice Brewer. So we'll see what happens in that one. That's going to be taking place on June 1st in Pennsylvania. So, Orlando, I always get this guy's name wrong. It's the way you pronounce it is Orlando Cuellar, and it's spelled Cuellar. Now, I've spoken to Orlando several times. As a matter of fact, he's been on this show. And last time I saw him happened to have been in Albany. He was with a young fighter that was there. Well, he's working Michael Oliveira's corner now, and he's been working with him. And Michael Oliveira is fighting June 2nd against, you remember? Acilio Freitas. Remember him. Now, Freitas wanted to make a comeback, but he really didn't want to train. That's why this fight is at junior middleweight, which is actually below what Michael Oliveira was fighting. Now, according to Orlando Cuellar, he says not only is Oliveira going to win this fight, he's going to knock out Freitas. And while we're at it, we may just stay here in the junior middleweight division. And, oh, by the way, guess what? We might move down to welterweight. So a lot of talk coming at the hands of, coming out the mouth of Cuellar concerning Michael Oliveira. The Brazilian Rocky is what they call him. But interesting fight. So, yeah, and I still think the interesting fight, Josito Lopez against Victor Ortiz. You know, I like both of these guys. I'm going to be torn. But we'll have to wait and see what happens with this one, that's for sure. You know, we talked earlier in the week about the June 20th prize fighter with the heavyweights. It's going to be taking place on Wednesday, June 20th at York Hall in Bethel Green, over on the other side of the pond. So far, we have Albert Sosnowski, Callie Meehan, and Tom Dallas as heavyweight participants. Oh, yeah, and Kevin Kingpin Johnson. Man, I personally am calling out to anybody that gets involved in this prize fighter tournament. Do us a favor. Kick the snot out of Kevin Kingpin Johnson. I am so sick of listening to this guy's just his mouth. You know, he makes statements like, "I'm ready to put the American boxing, heavyweight boxing scene back on the map, starting with this prize fighter tournament on the 20th." He said. He goes on to say, "Like I tell everybody, I am the best American heavyweight, bar none. If people see me, they know it. Don't worry about Seth Mitchell or Chris Arreola or any of those other clowns. Just focus on me and watch me deliver. I'm the best heavyweight in the world that's not named Klitschko, and after the prize fighter, I'll take care of that too." Yeah. It's like the Charlie Brown teacher. Wah, 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 wah. What, Kevin Johnson? Oh, yeah, you're talking smack again? Wah, 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 wah. Oh, yeah, you're the best? Yeah, okay. Okay, Kevin. You know, last time he got a shot at Klitschko, we all know what happened. He fought like a girl. So I give it, you know, and he embarrassed me because I said that this was the next real deal. So I'm disappointed. To say that's an understatement, to say that I'm disappointed in Kevin Johnson. But anyway, Nonito Donaire, Jeffrey Mathabula, that's all set July 7th. Looking forward to that. My man Bigabuck thinks that says that he doesn't think that Donaire is fighting the right people. Thinks he's being handed basically stiffs, and thinks he's overrated. I'm starting to believe that Nonito Donaire is a little overrated. I think he's a prima donna, and I can never get the conversations I had with his father out of my head. Amir Khan, Danny Garcia, they're going to be getting it on July 14th. Seth Mitchell is on that undercard, 25-0, 19 knockouts. A lot of people think unlike Kevin Johnson, a lot of people think he's the hottest American heavyweight prospect. He's taking on Jonathan Banks, who's only been beaten once, except Jonathan Banks is a small heavyweight. He's fought at the cruiserweight division for a long time. He's 28-1-1. That's the co-main event. It's going to be taking place in either Atlantic City it's going to be either at the Mandalay Bay in Vegas or the Honda Center in California. So we'll be looking forward to that one for sure. And then the name that eluded me, the name that I forgot, the one that I messed up on and had you guys yelling and screaming at the TV and at the radio was Saul Canelo Alvarez. He's going to be taking on Paul the Punisher Williams. And, I think it's a good opportunity for Paul Williams to get his name back on the map, so to speak. Obviously we all know who Paul Williams is, but he's been pretty quiet of late. Just FYI, I'm keeping this here close to the studio, and as a matter of fact, it's on the studio counter here. May 11th was when the WBC came out and said in the press. Now, I'm holding on to this because I know I'm going to get to throw it in their face. But this is when they said from the troll man himself. You know who the troll man is, right? Jose Suleiman. Oh, wait a minute. They call him Don Jose Suleiman. Oh, wait a minute. They call him Dr. Don Jose Suleiman. This guy's just such a joke to me. I'm sorry. He's turned into such a fraud. I think I'm even taller than him too. I mean, he looks like, I told you he was the model for the troll doll. If you've ever seen it, go do a search, go do a Google search on the troll doll, the original troll doll, and that is Jose Suleiman with a Don King wig. He's wearing a Don King wig that they dyed red or orange, and that was the original troll doll. That's him. It's him, man. So check that out. But I'm remembering, I'm keeping this in my memory banks and also since I can't remember anything anymore. I keep keeping it on the counter here at the studio. He informed the world on May 11th, and I'm going to read it again. He says, the WBC has been informed that WBC middleweight world champion Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. and the Diamond Belt champion Sergio Martinez have signed the agreement to have their mandatory fight, which incidentally has been mandatory for, 9-10 years now, in September of this year, 2012. They've also agreed, and the WBC has ruled favorably for Chavez Jr. to have a voluntary defense against Andy Lee on June 16th in El Paso. Now, they released this on May 11th. We had already been talking about the Andy Lee, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. fight for a month before this was released. But I find this so amusing and so comical, and that's why I'm keeping it close, because that fight's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I'll tell you why. Top Rank, first of all, has mentioned that there's other opponents that they have in mind for Chavez Jr. should he get by Andy Lee in June. Now, I don't think that they're afraid of Sergio Martinez, because I think Sergio Martinez wouldn't even beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. right now. I really don't. You know, I know Alex thinks he's so great and everything else, but and I like Sergio. I think he's great for the sport. He's an ambassador, all those things. But I think I think he's a little overrated when it comes to his skill set. And I think that Chavez Jr. will physically wear him down. And I think the body work, and Sergio will land some shots, but I just think that Chavez Jr. beats him. I really do. But whether he does or whether he doesn't, I don't think the fight's going to happen because they've already talked about Chavez Jr. fighting someone else. So this whole charade that the WBC is trying to pull to show you their power and everything else is fizzling and blowing up in their face. And what makes it even more satisfying for me is the fact that they've went out of their way for Chavez Jr. and Top Rank. They really have, the WBC. I mean, think about it. They're making Sergio Martinez jump through hoops. They stripped him of that belt, remember? He didn't lose his belt in the ring. They elevate him. If you go back and read the press conference, they say that they elevated Sergio Martinez to their diamond stud, but now he's got to wait in line to get a shot at the next level fight, which is below. The diamond studded middleweight title should be regarded higher than the regular old world championship, and yet they're making Sergio Martinez fight Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. to get the recognition as well. I mean, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. And oh, by the way, they stripped them of it. For what reason? For what reason? You're going to tell me that they stripped Sergio Martinez because he didn't fight a mandatory? Is that the reason that they have on the books? No. I don't think I think they made it like they gave him a better title by giving him the diamond belt, and they vacated his title just so Chavez Jr. could get a shot at it, and he won it. That's what happened. Now they got egg on their face. They got, like everyone loved my line. I got all these emails from it. They got the Denny's Grand Slam breakfast on their face, let alone egg on their face. They got that on their face. So to me, it's just a continuation of a joke. And the joke is the WBC. Dax gave us a preview of some of the fights this weekend. There's three major fights that are taking place. ESPN Friday Night Fights has Jin-Hoon Kim against Alisher Rakimov. And Rakimov is a tough fighter, undefeated, but he's also in his 30s, late 30s, 36, I believe. Ji-Hoon Kim is a guy that is got a lot of heart. He's got determination. He's gotten many, many shots here. Seems to be a regular on ESPN. The one thing he doesn't have is skill. I mean, this guy's pretty raw. I wish they would put a little more into him, teach him a little defense, because he's definitely got the heart, and he takes way too many shots. So we'll have to see how good Rakimov is, and if Ji-Hoon Kim can right the ship in the lightweight division. The other fight, aside from the main one I'm going to get to here in a second, is Jesus Soto Carres against Saeed El Harak, which is a welterweight fight taking place as well on the on Saturday on the 26th. That's on Aztec America. I don't even know if I have Aztec America. Murphy's saying that he thinks that Chavez will move up in weight. Yeah, of course, I think so too. And I don't think he's going to have the fight. I don't think they're going to have that fight, you know. And I think Sergio Martinez is Sergio Martinez is being a bit overrated. I think, you know. And when you look, Murph, when you look at Julio Cesar Chavez, I mean, when you look at Sergio Martinez's last two fights, in my opinion, he struggled. Yeah, he came back and won knockouts, and guys like Alex says, oh, they were exciting. Oh, he won in dramatic fashion. Yeah, because we forgot the first 8 rounds that he was, struggling. And as a matter of fact, the last fight, according to the HBO brainiacs, he was losing that fight. So I like the Jesus Soto Karass fight against Saeed El Harak if Jesus Soto Karass comes to fight. You know, that's what he's saying. Like Barker and wasn't it McGee, the other guy? He says Barker and the other guy weren't that great of opposition. No way were they great. They, and people criticize, everybody for fighting lesser opposition, but they don't criticize Sergio Martinez. There's a case again where Lou DiBella is waiting to fight Mayweather or Pacquiao or somebody that's going to write the check other than him. Yeah, Matthew Macklin. I'm sorry. It wasn't McGee. It was Macklin. You're right. Okay, so me and Murph are even today. He was wrong about Seth Mitchell, and I was wrong about Macklin. So we're even. It's 50-50 right now, going into the last few minutes of the show. But the big fight, of course, is Lucien Bute against Carl Froch. Carl Froch has been pretty vocal about it. I couldn't believe that Joe Santalaquito was saying, I saw Froch's girlfriend up close. She's not that good. What are you kidding me? Come on, Joe. I think Joe needs a pair of glasses or something because she's gorgeous. She's gorgeous. Now, I will tell you this, and I don't know what it is, man. And don't take this wrong. I mean, you know what? I could take it. You guys, I know I'm a fat bastard. I know I got the Mario mustache. I know I'm starting to recede a little bit. And it looks a lot worse on the television cameras than it really is. And you see me in person, I actually have hair. But I just wear it short to hide the grays. But let me ask you a question. What's up with when you look at Europe, right? What's up with the teeth, man? Why is it like everybody's teeth all crooked and mangled and stuff in Europe? Like, did you guys hear braces? Here in the States, man, and I think they do it overkill. Every kid you see has got braces from the time they're like 7, 8 years old. They got braces. Every kid. Oh, yeah, you need braces. And I was critical of that and everything else. My kids went through it, But in hindsight, I look at young adults, specifically women, and all their teeth are beautiful here in the States, nice and straight and white and, all this stuff, unless they're a crackhead, then they're all rotted and falling out their head and all that. And you look at these gorgeous women from Europe, and there is no question that there is just this sexiness about European women. I just love it. I love it. I had the luxury of going to Europe twice last year for fights, and my head was on a swivel. I mean, everyone just looked just gorgeous. They dress nice. They smell nice. They're just gorgeous, right? Until they open their mouth. And they got these mangled old railroad teeth and rotten, and I'm like, what's up with that, man? Is it in the water? I honestly don't know. What's the problem with the dent? I mean, I see dentists. There are dentists over there, right? I mean, you do have dentists over there in Europe, right? I just wonder, and the reason why I'm getting at it is I saw a close-up shot of Carl Froch's girlfriend, Rachel, right? That's her name. She's there's no question she's gorgeous until you get to her teeth. Her teeth are a little crazy. I met this girl in Tampa the other day. Didn't meet her. She was the bartender, and at first I thought she was much older. I thought she was like my age. And then when I, got up closer, I saw that she was substantially younger, and but yet had that weathered look. What are you send the young women out to work in the fields or something in Europe? I mean, what's the case with that?
Wake up. It's time for the...
It's too early for a trivia question.
All right, our trivia question today is being brought to us by BillyCBoxing.com. That's right, man. Check it out. There's actually a poll question up there will the Manny Pacquiao and Timothy Bradley fight be as exciting as the Floyd Mayweather and Miguel Cotto fight? Yeah, Miguel Cotto. As a matter of fact, it started out as just a blowout. 100% was all in favor of yes, it will be. Now it's a little closer, man. There's a lot of people saying that they think Bradley's going to win the fight. They don't even think it's going to be an interesting fight. Last time I looked, I think it was 33%. 33% say no, it's not going to be as exciting as the Mayweather fight, and 66% said the other one. So, so we'll see what happens there. So cast your vote on BillyCBoxing.com. We'd also like you to take some time and read the columns of everybody. We got some great writers that are part of the team. We're getting more that we're adding. We got a couple of new guys that are doing some stuff, and I want you to keep your eyes peeled for Rick's stuff. Rick's been doing a good job, getting into the swing of things. So he's been producing some stuff. We also got the return of Thomas Newman. He's going to be coming back, submitting some stuff. So I'm looking forward to him. And, of course, Austin Colleen and Daxx Khan with their regular contributions. And occasionally we even get something from Amy Green. So, why don't you mark down BillyCBoxing.com as your homepage. And definitely check it out for all your boxing news, because we try to be the first with the news. And check it out, because we are. Oh, yeah, you want to know the question, right? What's on the line is your very own copy of the Title Bout Championship computer game. Now, I'm getting some answers by my man Brett. Now, I'm not going to mention who my man Brett is, but he's a good kid. And he's, it's unfortunately that he's got to hang around with his pops, Dax. But Brett has been trying to get this question right day and day and day. He's tried it a couple of times, and I know it's frustrating him. And I'm telling you, Brett, from me to you right now, you're close. Not with the last answer, but with the answer before that. And I may even just give him a copy of this game anyway. All right? But for anybody that wants a copy of the Title Bout Championship computer game, if you know this answer, who fought the most fights from 1940 to 1949, if you know this answer, email me, Billy at TalkinBoxing, TalkinBoxing.com. And if my man Brett can get me another answer, whether it's right or wrong, I'm going to throw him a copy of this Title Bout Championship computer game anyway. So we got two games. One's going to Brett if he gets a close one. I just don't come up with a name. But if he gets another close one, I'm going to give him a copy, and I'm going to give you a copy if you know who fought the most fights from 1940 to 1949. Email me, Billy at TalkinBoxing.com. That's TalkinBoxing.com.
This day in boxing history.
And finally, this day in boxing history is being brought to us by Campanaro and Tomkovich. If you need a lawyer, use the ones that keep my ass out of trouble. That's Campanaro and Tomkovich. Let Campanaro and Tomkovich knock out your legal problem. 845-221-4099 is how you get a hold of them. Tell them Billy C sent you, and that I'm going to pick up the consultation fee. 845-221-4099. On this day, May 24th in 1968, listen to these two names. Bob Foster knocks out Dick Tiger in the fourth round to win the world light heavyweight title, and that took place on this day, May 24th in 1968 in New York City. Hey, man, that concludes our show for today. Make sure you stick around for the thumbs up, thumbs down. It's coming up immediately following this show. But there is one thing I got to tell you. Make sure you tune in tomorrow morning, same bat time, the same bat channel, the Fight Now channel. Of course, call your local television provider right now and tell them you want the Fight Now channel added to your sports channel lineup. It's that simple. Visit their website for all the information about Fight Now, www.fightnow.com. See you all tomorrow. Ciao, baby.